Well, hello. Here we are. I plan to, in this post, go over some inspiration that I am looking at on a website that I often go to when I'm looking at marketing trends. And what I notice is that they have one of the most thought out call to action strategies that I've seen around. Now, this is the Content Marketing Institute. And a lot of people ask me, what kind of call to action should I place on my website? So, this is going to be an example of the types of calls to action that you can put on your website. I hope this is going to be helpful. There are a lot of different schools of thought about what a call to action is. And really, what you should take away from this is that it's not just a button. There are a lot of people who have this design and it says that you have to have a button and it has to be a graphic. And look, the web is changing. It is becoming far more integrated into a reading experience, right? People are looking to just read long form posts, not necessarily seeing everything that you include graphically. So I'm going to go through this particular blog post on the Content Marketing Institute blog, and I'd like for you to take a look right now. So this is a post that I just pulled up. This particular author, Jay Acunzo, is one of those that I tend to go back to. And so I saw his post, and this is what I was looking at. Now, let's look for all the calls to action that we can find on this website. Well, up here on top, right, we've got this little bar that persists no matter where we go. Check out our events page. That's a call to action. A lot of people think, well, it's got to be a sales page or it's got to be contact us now. No, we're looking for these little mini conversions. We're looking for these little mini events that might happen that can better acquaint someone with us. We don't know if this is their first time here, their 35th time here. And of course, there are tools that will allow us to customize content and personalize it based on how much time that they've spent or how many times they've come back to the website. That's not what I'm describing here. I'm talking about just main setup of calls to action around the site. We're going to be looking at stuff that's persistent regardless of whose post it is. But what I really want to dig into is what you see over here within the content itself. So just here above the fold, we can see right here, join over 180,000 of your peers. This is a social proof. Obviously, if 180,000 of my peers are getting this particular newsletter, it might be worth getting for me too. So as we roll around and we look, we're going to see some ads here. These are, you're going to see some little calls to action embedded within the ads. Now, I want you to see what's going on here. Now, if we look in the middle of our screen, we see podcasting is intimacy that scales, says Jay Acunzo. Click to tweet. This is another call to action. What is better than someone reading the entire post? Well, it's someone sharing our post with their connections. So even if someone is not a customer or likely to become a customer, if they find value and they share our content, then that's pretty cool, right? So they put it right here. They put a box around it. It's pretty easy right there. So they've just gotten done reading that particular quote, and here it is. It shows up as a tweet that you can share. So if that particular tweet resonated with you, then you might want to share it. So that's nice. I'm going to keep rolling down, reading the article. Now I see over here, there's all these little calls to action, right? Connect with us. I can subscribe, like, follow all the social channels. That's there. I like how these are there with their social proof right in line. How many people are following them on each one? If you've got a big merry band of followers, why not have them come and jump in line? This type of thing actually works. It's proven. Showing how many people you'd be joining, that you're not the first one to jump down that rabbit hole, is a good thing. So another click to tweet. Here we are. That's great. Now here's something that I think is really worth highlighting. At the end, I've shared a template for a Trello board to help organize your podcast editorial pipeline. Let's just click on that. Now that goes straight off to something you can take with you. And Trello's this project management tool, but there are all these templates you can go and import into your own tool. So if you get this, if you decide to import this into your own Trello, then you're going to get all kinds of links to this author's website and podcasts and stuff like that. So that's another great call to action. Provide a resource and then become more ingrained with that person. So what's this? Handpicked related content. Right here in line. This is not actually part of the article, but it's right here kind of as I scroll. I see a couple of relevant articles about podcasting. I may want to click on those. Maybe if I'm someone that might have just not read the whole thing, I sort of am scanning, I might find some value here. This is a call to action in itself. You're saying, hey, if you're interested in learning more about this particular stuff, you might want to look at this stuff. And what you're really doing is maybe this particular post is not hitting the mark for you. And we have some other posts that you might want to go and check out too. The more you get someone exploring your website, the more time they spend, the better it's going to be in the long run. Now, I don't want to forget to look at these items here. So lesson 1, and he's got some inline links here. Inline links are huge. So he says, I host 2 shows, one for my own business about creative intuition and one for Next to You Ventures about early stage startups. These are calls to action. They're links within the content itself so that I can go and I could go subscribe to those. Some of the most effective links on pages like this are just like this, where you mention something and you make it easy for the website visitor, the viewer, the reader to get to that content. If you can make it easy to get to that content, people are going to go do it rather than read all the way to the bottom and see some button that they have to click to take the next step. So again, we got a tweet based on the quote they just read. I love this format. The quote they just read, then there's a tweet. Click to tweet. I'd love to see more click to share on Facebook type stuff. Like I'm not really seeing that. It's all about Twitter. Twitter, it's got its own audience, but it's not the type of audience that every company can connect with. So if your customer is on Twitter, then this is a great strategy. If your customer is on Facebook, Facebook actually has a tool for this to share. I think Facebook is pretty broad. You can look at Facebook and almost everybody's there, except for the young ones who are on Snapchat. So we're going to have to figure that out eventually. Looking down the list, we have a popular list of influencers. So that's going to take me to another post. Just cross-linking over to other posts is a great way to keep people navigating. And then we're showing some examples here. So that's an embedded post. This is a great way to make a piece really pop. You've got all kinds of multimedia embedded right here, and you're not linking off saying you have to leave, because this is an example in this post about how to do something better. You don't want to have to leave. You want to just be able to stay right here and check it out. If it's key to the understanding of how someone interprets your content, put it right here if you can. And if you don't have a platform that allows you to do that, then get one. I mean, WordPress, it'll allow you to embed just about anything. Most of these types of things like SoundCloud, YouTube, whatever it is, you can embed it right in there, and you can make sure that you're not going to see any ads, anything like that. So looking here, just kind of rolling down, we're seeing, this is a long post. Hey, subscribe to the newsletter. They're showing how you can get to other areas. Here's another handpicked related content. For a long form post, you might have a couple of these different types of content around this. So we're seeing another click to tweet, another example of a podcast that you can listen to right there. A third lesson, another example. We're getting less and less with the inline links, and that's kind of a shame. I think that I see this quite a bit with longer posts. You see a lot more inline links in the first bit, but not as many in the rest of it. Contextually link to anything that might be interesting for the reader on your website or off your website. There may be nothing here worth linking to, and I'm really not getting into the content as much as I am just visually scanning and looking for these links. I'm thinking there's an opportunity here to drive more traffic to other pages on your website, or to a content offer or a subscription or whatever it may be. So here we are, the bonus lesson, right? We've got my podcast again. It says my podcast, Unthinkable. So I can go off and check that out, subscribe. It's sort of a next step almost, a call to action, if you will. And then the author is saying, here's a quote from me. And then they're actually even including their own Twitter handle so you can quote them in your tweet. I like that quite a bit. So again, going off to this Trello board that they mentioned earlier, you could have gotten at the beginning. This is a great example, right? This is the main call to action, the main thing that he was trying to give you. Most people bury it at the bottom of the post, but he didn't bury the lead. He mentioned it early. So we were able to find it early. And he's saying, here's an image. Here's what it's going to look like when you get there, so you can understand what you're about to see, because it's kind of weird, right? It doesn't look like a normal website. But it's a really valuable thing if you're a Trello user, and that's cool for you. So here we go. Here's a couple more. Want to hear how his lessons work in CMI's podcast? Well, here, subscribe to our podcast. So Jay Acunzo, he doesn't work for Content Marketing Institute. He's a contributor. So they're capitalizing on his own stuff by saying, hey, want to hear how these work? Subscribe to our podcast. There's all kinds of calls to action going on here. And here are some more pieces of content that are referenced. And even in the authors area right here, all the things you can do. You can go and check out his podcast, the stuff he's doing at these various companies. And then again, an email subscription link, and followed by the comments. Here's what I've noticed about comments. Comments have begun to get buried further and further on blogs. In social media platforms like Facebook, or even on digital publishing community platforms like Medium, comments are a really, really important piece of the puzzle. CMI, Content Marketing Institute here, they've got a good audience that's rather engaged with their stuff, and they're right here to reply to everyone, and so is the author. You're not going to see comments like you used to see it. I think comments share per post, the number of comments you're going to see per post is less than it used to be. And that used to be the single most biggest call to action. So if you want to get real engagement, what I'm seeing is that you may have to go out to these platforms themselves. But if you have a big enough audience, a good enough audience, a loyal enough audience to come to you, which they've built, then you may find your engagement here. But they're using a platform that's really easy to comment on. It's called Disqus, Disqus. And I can stay logged in to Disqus on any website that has this installed, so that it's real easy. I don't have to put in my email address or name or anything like that. So removing friction is a real key here. So let's keep scrolling down. Are we going to run into anything? Well, no, that's about it. We really took this post in detail, but notice that there's all kinds of hits that you can check out, the most popular stuff going on right now, and then all-time hits. I love this, the how-to guides, how to go and kind of start wherever you want to start when you're looking at this website. So think about what you might include on your sidebar that's not just kind of junk or ads or whatever. Keep it relevant to the post. That'd be even better. So that is a wrap on this. The main lesson is, look, a call to action is not just a button at the end of your post. If you are really looking to drive some value for your audience, if you're looking to have people take action and do something and benefit from them, from having read your post, then make sure there's every opportunity to do that throughout, before. Don't bury the lead. Don't hide your eventual ask at the end of the offer. And then you may be learning something. So I'm learning something. I was doing this partly as an experiment to go check out how their CTAs are set up. So I thought I'd take you along with me. We are trying to up our game around here always. So I may take you on future journeys with me as well. Let me know in the comments if this is something that you find value in, and I will be back another time. I'll be addressing comments here after the show. So thank you, and I will see you another time.